about the tile?
No, I liked yellow, but I know you have conflicting thoughts. Like you want it not yellow. That's the issue. Like, I mean, it's so cheery.
It is cheery. I love the pattern. It just, everything else is so like neutral and like organic-y kind of like wood tones and stuff. And then I have like yellow. Yeah. And I love yellow. It's my favorite.
You want it to match though.
But I feel like since the fridge is, I'm not spray painting the fridge because all that's going to do is scratch off, and it's just, I'm never going to be able to get the exact color of this for the fridge. Because remember when we ordered our original kitchen, all of our appliances were going to be this color. Dishwasher at that time, because we didn't quite realize about the well situation, fridge, stove, absolutely everything was all the same GE set, like household set. We had the washer and dryer, stove, fridge, dishwasher, everything was gonna match. It was all gonna be like cohesive. Flow through and cohesive. But when that didn't happen and we ended up being like, this just came first, nothing else showed up, all of it got canceled because it was way too back ordered for literally 11, almost 12 months. We still had no ETA. Then we ended up doing the $200 thrifted fridge, which I now love with the gold. So I'm just like, this is kind of just like dark in this area and nothing else is really this dark. Our chairs in the dining room match, kind of flow through, kind of like ties it in. My kettle and like some few little knickknacks are this color, but we want more like the organic, like we like the sheepskin rugs and sort of that like Icelandic kind of. There's so many different styles. I feel like we're kind of trying to pull into one because we don't have one specific style that we really want to go with because we like a bunch of different elements and we're kind of just eclectically putting them together. But I keep hesitating about the tile in here, and it's such a silly element that everyone's like, oh girl, make up your mind. I'm really not being like scatterbrained about it, but I am, because I really liked how we did the really busy tile that we did, and it was just not right. Like I think once I simplified it and made it a more minimalist pattern like this, it made so much more sense. But now I'm hesitating on the yellow because I just know what else we're doing like throughout some of the other projects, and the yellow is just like, whoa, yellow for me compared to like what we want to add in. So hesitating. We'll see. But anyways, today that's not what we're working on. I want to get the base cabinets painted for the vacuum garage. And honestly, the last like 48 hours, I've been so excited about this vacuum garage. We had nowhere to store this stuff at our old house. And so many of our commenters are saying, yeah, my house does not have a spot for this to go. What a great idea, good use of this space. And now that we've done it, because like I said, I hesitated on like using more wood or having to buy more hinges. Hinges are $18 plus tax per pack. So this meant an additional $100 just in hinges plus tax, and then also the handles for this spot, which, I mean, it's not much in the scheme of things because we're building everything ourselves and we are ultimately saving so much money, but it's just another expense to add to this space. And we're like, do we want to do it? Do we not? Happy we did it. So Dana and I went and got a few more hinges. We already had a few leftover handles, so that was okay. I just needed to get 2 more. But we want to get this sort of like looking the way we want now, because now we know we have the functionality of it. So, fresh roller. I'm not going to name any names, but somebody left the handle outside when we did the wood shelter, and so we grabbed a fresh one.
It wasn't me.
Was it not you? It was probably me, in all fairness. All right. Oh, I can't remember if I mentioned in our last video, but I added this MDF board rather than trying to repair the wall where we took out the wainscoting that was around, or these slats, whatever you want to call it. We would have then had like a trim in here and everything. It would have taken up more space. So I used a 1/4 inch MDF and just made that nice and smooth in there. I think it looks more finished this way. And ultimately it's for cleaning products. It doesn't have to be that glamorous in here, but at least it's smooth and the wall's not crummy now.
This is a good a day as any to start the rebuilding of life. The roads that lay open are many when the old one's gone under the knife. And I can feel the sun on my skin, beginning to thaw from within.
If you come down and the tile's totally different.
No.
No, I like the pattern. I didn't mean that. I meant like different color. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
No, do what you want.
Okay, he's gone. Should I break out the Cricut? Okay, I have one stencil on. I removed the one in the corner here that was really scraped out from doing the actual silicone caulking stuff there. So I had this one off, and this one off, and we're going to try the dark blue gray color of the washer. And we're just gonna see, because as you can tell, a few of these were damaged pretty good when we were trying to wipe and make sure everything was perfect around the seams of the sink. And so I need to go over and basically take about 8 or 10 of these off anyways and redo them, which means I have to buy paint because I was like totally out. I had just used a little bit left with this. So we're gonna see. Right now in the light, these yellow tiles look more deeper golden, mustardy, orange, yellow. Then when there's a lot of light in this room, they look really sunny, bright yellow in the actual daylight. So my thing here is just to see what does it look like if I incorporate this color here on the tile. Who knows? We could backtrack. Maybe I'm being silly about it. I don't know. But it's my pantry and I'm gonna spend a lot of time in here and I wanna make sure that it's perfect. Maybe the yellow will be perfect for some, maybe the blue won't be perfect. Who knows? We're gonna wait and see, but we're gonna test it out and at least close off the curiosity that I have in my brain over if this yellow is right or not. Vinyl did a good job conserving the vinyl, but it's a little close to where the top of this is. So I'm just gonna stick a little piece of clear there. Then my paint isn't gonna go up on that other tile. And I have blue paint, which is the color of the washer here, or as close as I possibly could find to it. This is the color that we used on the wood shelter. Just this is interior rather than exterior. Let's see. This could go totally wrong, but either way we had to redo the tiles, so let's try. Leave that for a couple minutes. Not too long, just enough till it's like tacky colored, and then I'm going to do a second, maybe even a third coat. The goal is to get it on as smooth as you possibly can so that when you peel it off, it's not dry, so it doesn't pull off with the vinyl, but it is smooth enough and coated enough to be a solid enough color that you want. I'm not really looking for like the faded look here, I'm looking for a solid pattern. All right, let's see. Darn it, I left it too long. Okay, so I used way too good a quality vinyl and it basically pulled off the corners of the tops of my triangles for my Aztec. But you can see what the dark blue would look like compared to the yellow. I'm not gonna worry about doing too many here. I think I'm just gonna do these 3 and then stand back and stare at it for hours and hours and hours and see what our YouTube family thinks. Do you think that the blue color will be better than the yellow, or should I just stick with the yellow? Regardless, tomorrow I'm gonna have to get some paint. If I go with the yellow, which I don't mind doing, I have to go to town anyways, but what do you think? Go with the color of the washer or go with the yellow? Oh wow, really, the struggle is real. And I do love yellow, but I just don't know if it's right. And so I'm second guessing myself for some reason. Let me know what you think. Maybe if I do a couple more, you'll be able to see better, but a couple of these have to get fixed anyway. So this really isn't for nothing. It's just to make sure that I'm going with exactly what I'm gonna be the most happy with. All of the hardware that's gonna be in this room is gonna be the same color as the faucets there, that antique brass gold. So this is what it looks like from the doorway. So you can kind of see what the pattern will look like with the darker or the lighter. Okay, leave a comment, let me know what you think. But until then, I just started doing some paint. As you can see, it's a little brighter all in here, just working on getting the painting done all the way around here before I work on a really neat DIY that I think will be awesome for the pantry storage.
Full stop. Can't believe I live in your thoughts. I think about you all the time, morning, evening, and midnight. Such a wonderful delight. Forgo, give up everything that I
I now have the whole built-in completely primed, and I did a bunch of the priming along the edges of this laundry room side. What I did the other day was build a couple more doors that are going to go in this laundry room side. You can see that they're missing from right here. So I want to get the first coats of primer on those so we can get those hung up. And then I guess we'll see what the weather's doing outside to see if I can work on my DIY I was planning for today. I gave these cabinets a light sanding earlier today, and I let them dry for the last, say, 24 hours till that wood glue was really solid. And then what I'm doing is putting the primer on, and I'm going to let the primer sit overnight. Ultimately, the primer is going to help give my cabinet paint the durability that it needs so that we don't have to repaint cabinets in a year or two. Prep is the main key factor when you're working on painting cabinets, whether they're wood or if you're painting over laminate or any other type of cabinet. From my experience painting several different types of cabinets, making sure that your prep work is done is going to give you the best, not only aesthetic results, but durability results.
And it shows if I'm honest. You're the leaves in mid-August, and I've come out here to say that I love you.
I think some of our YouTube family might be wondering why I'm struggling so much, for example, with the tile here in the pantry room. And I think in all honesty, it's because I have such high expectations for this pantry space. When we decided to build the kitchen in the room that was never a kitchen before and use this original kitchen space, I knew that my standards for this space were going to be super high. I had a vision in mind on exactly what I wanted this space to look like, and my original plan was to buy some new tiles for this space. And I don't want to waste money, and I don't want to waste perfectly good materials that are already here, and I also want to keep those original tiles on the wall. So to be able to redesign them and make them into something great, I think is really nice to have that still here in this space, just like the wainscoting that we're keeping along the bottom. But my expectations for this room are so high because I have such big plans on what I want to do with this space once this room is put together in design. This is going to be my dream homesteading pantry / laundry room / vacuum garage / fridge. But what I want to do with this space is I want to put so much hard work into this room, which essentially is going to be sustainable things for our family, which is why it holds such importance to me. My plan for the spring is to grow a large vegetable garden. Like some of you saw that we did in Ontario. Last year with Philip's Fall, we really just couldn't focus on doing a large garden. We grew a few small things, utilized the greenhouse a little bit, but we definitely didn't use our land for the full potential that we had for growing and to really just get practicing growing in this new area that we're in. It's just so much different growing here than it would have been in Ontario. And so I want to dabble with that, not really dabble with it, but dive directly into it and get a large garden actually growing in the early spring, which means we're going to be doing some seed starting inside as well as in the greenhouse, really get our feet wet in doing that this season. And what I want to do with that is I don't want all of that food stuff to go to waste, obviously. And so I'm going to get right into doing my canning and preserving and learning a lot of new skills. I've done a little bit of it, but I have so much to learn. And preserving and getting this pantry full of food. So one of my goals for 2023 is to literally stock this entire room with provisions for our family, food that we've grown, local foods, visit some local markets, and actually make this space just everything that we hope it would be to be able to have food here all the time. We had 17 power outages, for example, from November 30th to March 1st last season for 2021, our first winter here, which meant that we were without power a lot. And so we were so thankful that we had the wood stoves to be able to cook on. But sometimes, every once in a while, your grocery stuff's kind of dwindling down and you are like, oh, I need to get this, and this. And we live about 40 minutes or more to our local small grocery store, which is very costly. And we are 2 hours from the grocery store that's going to be able to save us some money shopping, usually a lot of good sales. And then we're additionally further distance away if we want to visit any farmers markets or anything like that to get anything that's in season or local that way. So we're a significant distance away from just quickly grabbing things, especially when we get often updates that storms are coming or that we should expect some power outages. Like we knew, for example, Hurricane Fiona, we were several days with no power. And we were prepared because we knew that storm was coming. But sometimes you don't really get word and the weather's terrible and the power grid that we are on means that we are without power. If anyone in this massive vicinity is out, our actual location is out as well. So it's very important for us. Not to mention, we'd like to use our land for more sustainable things like growing our own food, just for the purpose of being healthier, having our own food grown without all of the extras that are added to a lot of things you buy in the store, save money, like cost for our family eating, because let's be realistic, 2023 is already right now showing to be a very expensive time to buy food, and inflation is happening and there's just a lot of changes going on. And I thought, what a better way to actually stock our pantry here and have our own provisions. So that is why I'm taking such importance as to how I'm gonna have the proper storage and the proper space here. Not to mention, aesthetically, I want it to be that dreamy homesteading pantry that has all of my thrifted and search for treasures that I'll be able to use to create and do the food that we're preparing for our family. You know I love my Pyrex bowls and some of my vintage things that I have, and I have Philip's grandmother's rolling pin, some things that just like really, as even though they're material items, to me they hold memories and value. And Philip's mom and Philip had so much fun one weekend when we went to an auction and I found those Pyrex bowls and outbid everyone I could possibly fight in the auction to get these bowls that I was dreaming of having in our space, and being able to have Philip's grandma's rolling pin. Obviously those are things that are really meaningful to me. And I don't want to go out and buy a bunch of new things here for our pantry to stage it and set it up. I want to take my time and find some of the items that I'm looking for on my list and find them thrifted and secondhand, and maybe they already hold their own memories of somebody that has used these things, and bring them into our space here. So I'm not going to rush to fill this space with items. I want to keep it minimalist in terms of like decor things, but I want it to be personal and homestead vibes and very organic and thrifted, and just kind of, I think you kind of get the picture of what I'm looking for. And so I'm struggling with this tile, and I don't know why it's such a silly element of the space, but to me, I want the space to be everything that I hoped it would be. So I hope you kind of like understand where I'm coming from, that this room ultimately has a lot of expectations for me in my own head on how I want it to be. So unfortunately, it is absolutely downpouring out and I can't get to work on the DIY that I wanted to do today. But what I want to do is tie in a little bit of the herringbone pattern that we used on the island in the kitchen to create something for this space, which I think will bring in some of that warm wood tone and is just going to be just a little bit of like an element that we can kind of make that space a little bit cohesive. But I will have to wait until tomorrow to do that. Hopefully, fingers crossed, the weather cooperates. That's why I didn't get to building any more of the cabinets today. The doors need to get built for the left side of the pantry here. The weather is not cooperating, so just not my day for building. But so let me know, honest opinions welcomed. Do you prefer if I match up the washer and dryer or if I leave it yellow? Now that I've stared at it basically all afternoon while I was working on doing painting and getting the first coats of primer on everything else that's here, pretty sure I know what way I'm leaning, but I'm curious to see what you guys think. So I'm gonna hold my opinion to myself, and then I guess you'll have to wait till either tomorrow's video or on our reveal on this side to be able to see what I decided to choose. But I'm curious to see what our YouTube family thinks, if you think it's better for me to incorporate some of this dark blue gray color, or if I should continue and do the yellow. Just keep in mind, some of these yellow ones have to get redone anyways because we had rubbed them with the actual silicone that we did around the sink there. You can see on the bottom, some of the actual paint was a little bit rubbed off on the bottom. Maybe I didn't get the polyacrylic I coated it with on quite enough. I had just done one coat thinking if ever I wanted to change it, then I wouldn't have to worry down the road. But for now, what do you think? Yellow or the dark blue gray? I hope that you enjoyed today's video. I always value all of the opinions that you guys leave us in the comment section. I wanted to thank everyone again for always cheering us on. I hope that you're having a wonderful weekend. I love you, and I will see you on tomorrow's episode.